Welcome back to Generational Dr. Wealth, a personal finance show for doctors. This podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult your own professionals.
Hello. This is the Dr. Wealth Show. Today, we're going to be tackling part 1 of the Q&A episode for Invest. And just like the explanation episodes, where we broke down in 2 different episodes, how do you go about investing? Remember, first thing we do is make sure we go ahead and max out all of our employer match. Then step number 2, make sure we max out our HSA if we qualify. Then step number 3, make sure we maximize our Roth IRA. And lastly, step number 4, we go back and max out any other account, especially the 401k that we haven't maxed out. Throughout this episode, we're going to hear from different doctors who have questions on how to make sure they are maximizing their investments accounts, as well as what do you invest in once you've maxed out all of your tax advantage retirement accounts. This is going to be a fun and action-packed episode. If you would like your question answered on the Dr. Wealth Show, feel free to reach out to us at drwealth@teamfinancials.com. That's drwealth@teamfinancials.com, or reach out to us via the socials at Dr. Wealth Show. We're excited to get your questions answered. And as we speak, we are filming the next season of the Dr. Wealth Show. If you would like to be on the show and get your questions answered live or be featured in an episode, feel free to reach out to us at the email and the socials previously provided. Now let's hop into this action-packed episode.
Hello. Welcome back to the Generational Dr. Wealth Show. My name is Dr. Jermaine Fetty.
And my name is Donnie Fetty.
And this is the Q&A episode you all have been asking for. This is invest. Step number 5 of 9 of the Doctor's Blueprint. Literally the heart of the blueprint. Man, that last 2 episodes were really good. It was so good we had to break it into 2 different episodes, but now we're here to answer your questions.
Absolutely. That episode was so action-packed with information, and y'all cannot wait for the Q&A episodes. So we are super excited to dive into these questions and scenarios so we can talk about them.
Absolutely. So don't forget, simply when it comes to invest, before we even get into the questions, remember, first, make sure you get your employer 401k match. Then step number 2, make sure you get your HSA filled up if you qualify for a high deductible health plan. Number 3, make sure you max out your Roth IRA. And last but not least, make sure you go back and finish up your 401k. I'm excited to see the questions that we have lined up, but before we get into it, you got anything going on in your life, Ms. Don? What we got going on? Timestamp this a little bit for us.
Okay, timestamp. Now we've had, I know you mentioned it on the last episode, but we've now had our son's first birthday party. That was a financial literacy themed birthday party. Super fun. The kids had a great time. Adults had a great time. It was one for the books for sure. Let's see, what else?
Absolutely. And I just want to thank everybody who came to the birthday party and those who even couldn't come to the birthday party. Man, for his birthday, we asked for no gifts, just contribute to his 529. And so many amazing doctors out there contribute to the 529, man. So it's a whole list of them. I would go listing all the names now, but I don't want to forget any. But if you contributed to the 529 or just send them prayers, anything along those lines, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a huge step. It's so important for kids to have that 529, that stepping stone. So when the time comes and they're 18 years old and they're going to college, they have that money that's already been invested and working for them, whereas they're 18 and we're starting from scratch. So a huge thing that a lot of people are starting now, like in our generation, of having 529s and requesting contributions to 529s instead of gifts. And that's what we did for his birthday.
Absolutely. As we talked about last episode, for a newborn, $13 a month is all it takes to become a millionaire.
If you've been listening to the show, you probably heard us talk about the Doctor's Blueprint, the 9-step framework that helps doctors go from 6-figure debt to financial freedom. But a lot of listeners have asked the same question. How do I apply this to my own situation? That's exactly why we created the Dr. Wealth Blueprint Plan. It's a personalized financial roadmap designed specifically for doctors. We walk through your entire financial picture, your debt, insurance coverage, saving strategies, investment plan, and long-term goals, and then turn it into a clear step-by-step plan based on the Doctor's Blueprint. If you're interested, just text the word blueprint to 704-336-9313, and we'll send you the details and application. Again, that's blueprint to 704-336-9313 to learn more about the Dr. Wealth Blueprint Plan.
let's hop into some Q&As.
All right, let's do it. All right, so first we have Dr. Williams, and she is an emergency medicine doctor.
Okay.
So her question is, I finally have enough income to invest aggressively, but I feel like I'm behind. Should I focus on catching up for retirement or building wealth outside for retirement accounts?
See, the number one issue I hear in this question is that she feels behind. But the question is she actually behind?
Right.
And the only way to really know that is lining it up with the blueprint, figuring out what step are we on. Now, if you are a brand new grad and you're stepping into a $380,000 income and you're still on step, let's say 2 or 3, that's okay. But if you've been practicing for 10 years and we're still on step 2 and 3, maybe you are a little behind. And we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's okay to say you're behind if you're behind for the right reasons. Some people are just understanding. Doctors, we are overachievers by nature. So sometimes we feel like we're behind when we're actually ahead. So the only really way to know are your feelings valid or invalid, and the way in which you're processing them is by measuring yourself against something. And that's why we have the blueprint. So you have the different steps you can line yourself up, because what happens is a lot of people go straight to investing and we don't even have our disability insurance in place.
Right.
We go straight to invest, and we don't even have
That
our freedom
coverage.
fund. We don't have anything in place.
Yeah.
So you might feel ahead, and that's why I'm glad Dr. Williams is at least conscious enough to figure out, where am I? Because a lot of us might feel ahead because, hey, I am doing invest. I'm maxing out all the accounts. But Doc, don't ask me about the freedom fund.
Right.
Don't ask me about it, because I have $2,000 saved up on a $380,000 income. That is just insufficient for the place of life that you're in. So for her, I would say, let's sit down. Let's look at the blueprint. She can do it at home. Pull up the blueprint and figure out where exactly you are. And the best way to know from there is to reach out for help. If you have a CPA that you work with, that you trust, a financial advisor, I would definitely make sure that they align with the philosophies of the doctor's blueprint, because again, sometimes people give advice from a place that they have not been. So you receive advice that, no, you're on a fantastic path and it's not going exactly where you want it to. So I'm glad she's at least conscious enough, but now that she's actually getting to the point that she can invest aggressively, now it's time to catch up, because understand, as doctors, we start investing a lot later than our average peers. Now, our peers graduate 22, 23, 24, and they start working. But you're talking about the average doctor does not actually step into attending a full income to at least 28, or you're talking about maybe up until about 35 years old.
Right.
That's a big swing. Now, you got some young achievers, like young overachievers, like my guy, Dr. Jabri Muhammad, right? He started at 26. He became a full-fledged dentist, right? But for most people, you're not starting that early.
Yeah.
You're going to be starting later in your 20s and your early 30s. So you do need to catch up to those who have been investing aggressively for 6, 8, 10 different years. So Dr. Williams, are you behind or are you not behind is a question you're going to have to compare to the blueprint to figure out what stage you're on. If you've been attending full-fledged income for more than 5 to 10 years, I would definitely expect you to be in the invest. If not, at the very least, step 4 right before this step. If you're still on the financial foundation, which is step 1 through 3, then you might be a little bit behind. But just DM me. We can help you out and get there.
And it's important to, like you said, to invest into those first 3 steps. So not to just think I need to go right into investing into retirement, because if I don't have my freedom fund set to go, if I don't have all of my insurances that are covering me in the event of an emergency, and emergencies do happen.
Absolutely.
Unexpectedly. So at that point, we don't know how much we would need. But if we have at least those timestamps of the amount that we need for those first 3 steps, retirement will come eventually. That time will come. But an emergency is inevitable.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a work emergency, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, any type of emergency will happen. So having that money easily accessible means more than taking that. What's the percentage? The penalty fee?
10%.
10%. Penalized 10%
on top of the taxes.
If you take it out of a retirement account. So is it beneficial to invest early? Yes. Does it make sense financially long term? No.
So Dr. Williams' question is, should I focus on catching up on retirement or building wealth outside of the retirement accounts? And the first thing I would say is, what are her goals, right? If your goal is to retire early, then you're going to need income and you're going to need wealth built up outside of just retirement accounts. So we have the 3 different account and 4 different steps in invest, which is make sure you're getting your employer matched, make sure you're maxing out your HSA, make sure you're investing into your Roth IRA. Those are good accounts to get started, but all those have limits. On a $380,000 income, if you're just putting away 10%, you're maxing out those accounts.
Right.
With the extra, yes, you might want to take a step outside of just a retirement account. And if Dr. Williams is interested in taking a step away from work early, then you need to be thinking about, maybe I should be putting some of my income into a taxable brokerage account or real estate. There's a few different ways in which you can put your money into vehicles that continue to travel. But I would say that if retiring early, and it seems like it's important to Dr. Williams, or she wouldn't be asking, should I be doing just retirement accounts or should I be also thinking about building wealth outside of retirement accounts? But since she's interested in that, I would definitely say you want to use different vehicles if you want to get to a different destination. If you're interested in retiring at 60 to 65, the retirement accounts are going to be the way to go. If you want to think about retiring early, like you and I, we already have our retirement goals to retire a lot earlier than that.
Right.
Then we have to balance what we're putting into retirement accounts that we can't access until 59 and a half, 60, far down the road, to actually making sure we have income prepared for us when we're actually ready to retire. So for Dr. Williams, that's what I would say. Find a good balance between putting money away into your retirement accounts and make sure you're putting money into something that you can access now, again, which we have taxable brokerage accounts, which we have real estate, things that you can actually liquidate when you need them before retirement age happens.
All right. And it makes me think of the common phrase of the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time to invest is now.
Hello, I'm Jonathan with Team Financials, and here at Team Financials, we make filing simple, accurate, and stress-free. Tax season does not have to be stressful, and we are here to make it as simple and stress-free as possible for you. Whether you need help with your personal tax return or your business owner looking for expert tax preparation, our experienced team is here to guide you every step of the way. We don't just file your taxes. Our slogan here at Team Financials is we educate so you can elevate, because when you understand your finances, you make stronger, smarter moves for your future. If you mention Dr. Wealth when filing with us, you will receive $75 off your personal and business tax preparations. Ready to get started? Please reach out to us at 704-412-4242 or book directly on our website at teamfinancials.com. Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
So if you did not invest 10 years ago, make sure you're investing now. Start with something. Start with $13. Start with a lot of people always refer to like a cup of coffee. Start with something and you'll build up that muscle of investing so it'll just come naturally.
Absolutely.
All right. So our next doctor, we have Dr. Chin. Dr. Chin is a dentist and he asks, I have extra cash every month. Should I invest it in the stock market or save it for a future practice purchase? That's a good question.
Dr. Chin is really getting into the nitty gritty now. See, the way I would answer this is first we need to finish the entire blueprint, because in the next step, we're going to actually discuss the importance of making sure that you create your sinking funds so you're putting funds away for future investments. Now, what I will say is I would not pause investing into these retirement accounts, HSA, Roth IRA, to be able to purchase a practice only. And the only reason I say that is because you never know when it comes to purchasing a practice. Like for instance, for us, we wanted to purchase in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we knew Charlotte's where we wanted to be. And it took probably 11 months longer than I thought it would have taken. So understanding that when it comes to purchasing a practice, especially in the dental side of things, a lot of it is out of your hands. What you might think would be a 5-month process might turn into a 5-year process.
Right.
Now imagine if you paused all retirement accounts, you paused
5
all
years.
Roth IRAs, all HSA, because you said, I'm going to buy a practice, and it takes 5 extra years. Understand the way the stock market has been growing just over the last 5 years, you would have doubled that money. So if Dr. Chin would have put in $200,000 across 5 years, it probably would have doubled to about $400,000 at this point. Last year, the stock market was up maybe 18 to 20%. Before that, it was up 20 to 25%. Before that, so it's going up and it's going up. I don't want you to miss that growth opportunity. Now, what I will say is, Dr. Chin, we might need to be more cautious of where we put the excess funds. Again, once you max out those original accounts, again, it's going to take you about $30,000 to $40,000 to max out your employee side of things. The excess funds that he's interested in putting away, I would say let's put that into a taxable brokerage account. So that way you can still capture the growth now. And whenever it's time to purchase a practice, you still have access to those funds. Now, when it comes to purchasing a dental practice, you don't actually need to turn over money to the bankers to purchase a practice. Most banks will process your loan for 100% loan to value. So if the practice is worth $800,000 and it actually like goes through underwriting and it's worth $800,000, they'll write a check for $800,000.
So there's no down payment.
No, there's no down payment usually associated with a quality dental practice.
So then why do people normally have this assumption that I'm saving up for a practice?
Because most people think they're going to have to make payroll and everything like that until the practice starts making money. But understand, when it comes to dental practices, there's also something called working capital. They'll give you excess capital for probably 3 to 6 months of your expenses to help you get things off the ground. To be able to pay your mortgage for the first 3 to 6 months, to pay your employees, to be able to purchase a coach, for you to be able to get help, all the help that you need to get your practice off the ground, marketing, all those extra things. Now, what they do want to see is what we call liquidity. Liquidity is you showing the bank that I have the ability to save. Because think about Dr. Chin. Imagine he's been practicing for 10 years. And he's been making $250,000 for 10 years, right? Which, how much is that across 10 years? We're talking about $2.5 million. Imagine Dr. Chin has touched $2.5 million across his entire career, but only has $10,000 saved up. As a banker, I'm going to be a little nervous.
Where did this money go?
Where did the $2.5 million go? Obviously, taxes, Uncle Sam is going to take his 30 to 40%, but where is the rest of this money? And that's why when it comes to purchasing a practice, people do tell you to have income saved up. But usually the rule of thumb is you want to have about 5 to 10% of the purchase amount saved up, or $50,000, whichever one is less. So again, if you're purchasing $1 million dental practice, 5% of that is $50,000. You want to have that somewhere in an account. You're not going to turn it over.
You can easily show numbers on the screen.
But they want to be able to see, can you save? Can you put funds away? And if things ever get tight, do you have a little bit of cushion? Because the worst thing for a lender to do is to loan something to someone who has no cushion. Meaning if one thing goes wrong, like a COVID coming down, meaning unfortunately you have to step out of work for a little bit of time, maybe the practice grows a little bit slower than you anticipated. Do you have a little extra cushion in your life to be able to keep things afloat while everything works itself out? Because when it comes to investments, investments don't grow on like a straight line. The only thing that is a straight line is something that's dead. Think about it at the hospital. When you're looking at an EKG and you're seeing the heart go up and down and up and down, literally going up and down is life. That means that you're experiencing life. There's not going to be all downs and there's not going to be all ups. But the thing about it is you generally want to be trending in an upward direction. So Dr. Chin doesn't know if this is going to be a good launch or if this might be a slow launch. But by showing that you have the ability to save and put away some of your income, it could be in a taxable brokerage account. It can be in your savings account. As long as it's easily accessible, they don't usually count retirement accounts because, again, that's locked up. But if it's easily accessible, it usually counts towards that 5 to 10% or 50,000, whichever is less. And Dr. Chen, again, do both. Do both. And let's say for that day of practice ownership.
Follow-up question.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to, because I know you said that dentists don't necessarily have to have a down payment for the practice purchase. Is it the same if you're purchasing the real estate?
For real estate, it tends to be a different transaction because when you're purchasing a practice, you're purchasing an income vehicle. Does that make sense? So if I'm purchasing this box is going to be giving me back money so I can pay back the loan. Now, when you're purchasing real estate, your real estate might not be producing income. So they want some skin in the game. All right. So even when it comes to purchasing a practice, let's say you want to buy the facility. What I've seen that is normal between the Small Business Administration, SBA loans, and when it comes to typical lenders, if a practice owner wants to also buy the real estate associated with that practice, they're usually making you put up 10 to 20%. That's what I've seen. That's what we fell within, that 10 to 20%. They want that cash. So if your building costs $1 million, you need to probably have $100,000 to $200,000 to be able to purchase that building. You're turning that over. You're not keeping that.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the practice itself, again, the practice is going to create income. So they don't need you to give them income. All right. They know it's going to generate and it's in a good place. And when it comes to doctors, and especially when it comes to dentists, the default on the first practice, let's say you only have one practice, the default is like literally statistically insignificant. So That's why they don't require funds. But if you are buying the real estate that your practice works in, or you're buying a home, usually it requires something down. But I will say there is one caveat. There is what we call a doctor's loan. If you're interested in buying a home as a physician, a vet, or a dentist, usually those are the 3 career paths that offer this for you. There is a way for you to get into a home for as little as 0% down. Because again, think about it. You're a doctor. You're good for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not worried about your ability to pay or not pay. But that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
Oh, I had another follow-up question.
What do you got?
Just because you brought up the doctor's loan, could you use the doctor's loan for the practice purchase, or is it really like residential only?
So doctor's loan is for residential living, and it's usually primary residence. So for instance, some people be like, oh man, I'm going to buy a quadplex for my doctor's loan. Listen, I've tried it. If you thought about it, I've already tried it. All right. They usually only want to lend your primary residence. At most, you can probably get up to a duplex. I've talked to different loan advisors that have said we're able to loan for this duplex, but anything above that, because they want you to have at least a 50% ratio of living space in the house, right? Mm-hmm. So once you start getting into quadplex, you're literally encompassing 25%. Yeah. And in their minds, you're not going to stay here long. Mm-hmm. But when you encompass 50% or more of a living space, you're going to be more likely to stay there longer.
Makes sense.
Yep.
This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be financial, legal, or medical advice. We are not acting as your personal financial advisors. The strategies discussed are general in nature and may not be appropriate for your individual situations. You should always consult your own qualified financial, tax, and legal professionals before making decisions about your money. The host and guests are not responsible for any actions you take based on the information shared on this show.